Okay, welcome to Saturday's Live. Oh, we're gonna hang out for a minute while people hopefully join me. I honestly have no idea if anybody's gonna join me on a Saturday for a live or not, so this is brand new for me. I was gonna try to do this like outside or maybe in the living room to kind of switch things up today, but I have Steven on a honey-do list, so he's currently hanging shelves in the other room, and we are not gonna interrupt that. When your husband is like hanging shelves or doing the honeydew, just walk away and let him finish it, right? Okay, if you join me and you're on, say hi so I know you're here. It turns out it is a pretty beautiful day today. The sun isn't shining, like crazy, but it is a little bit sunnier than yesterday, so I'm happy about that. My pups have been playing keep away from each other all morning, and it is so entertaining to watch because they are obviously adopted at different times, but oh my gosh, they are so funny. They're so sisters, and they fight like sisters and they love like sisters, and it is hilarious to watch. So they're playing keep away with Bones right now, and we just laugh at them. There's just nothing else you can do but laugh. Okay, if you're on here with me, say hi so I know you're here. I can't believe this went so fast and the sales funnel challenge week is already over and this is the last video. I can't even believe it. I will say I ended up doing this sales funnel challenge really to help everyone with sales funnels, but also as a big challenge to myself because for those of you who don't know my medical journey, I suffer from chronic migraines and I'm on a new medication. And a couple months ago, I could have never thought about committing myself to every night during a single week to do something like this. And so the fact that I was able to do that, and I'm to Saturday's Q&A, I'm really excited. It was a huge success, not just for me in business, but it's a personal success of mine as well. Hey, Stacy, I'm so glad you're here. Yay, it may be you and I hanging out today. I don't know, but I had a couple of questions submitted to the group, so we're going to talk about some things while we're here. I hope you're having a good Saturday. You have big plans today. Hopefully something a little bit fun and not just all work related. I know how that goes though when you have all the work to do on the weekends too. Okay, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on small talk because people may be kind of in and out today, I'm guessing. So I wanted to dive into a few of the questions that I had submitted. And then if you pop on live with us, just pop in a question to the comments and I will address those as they come in. So don't hold back on any questions. Just go ahead and dive in and ask me all the things. Oh, no plans today. See, that's the best thing. After this, we're literally hitting up Hobby Lobby, and that is my only plans for today. It's awesome. Okay, so I did have one question in the group from Ashley. She was asking if I believe sites like ClickFunnels are profitable resources. So if you don't know, ClickFunnels is a third-party website designed by Russell Brunson, I believe. Ooh, if I say his name wrong, that's going to be bad. If you go to clickfunnels.com, you can learn all about what ClickFunnels is. And it is a website that will create your funnels for you or allow you to set up funnels all in one system. At its core, it is a good service. I have checked it out a couple of times. It does have something great to offer. I do like that you can kind of learn about funnels as you go. So you're building and kind of learning at the same time. It's a great educational resource as well. However, the reason why I don't like to use it in my business is because I like to have more control than that over the different pieces that I put together. And I have my systems down pat already. So introducing another system into the mix doesn't make sense for me. One of the things that I disliked about it was that you're creating landing pages on their website And while you may be able to do some things with your domain and go ahead and capture some analytics, I just don't love not having the full control over that person's experience. If I design a landing page on my website, I know 100% that one, it's going to work because I make sure of those things, right? And that it's going to deliver them a quality landing page experience. And if that landing page wasn't the thing that they needed to see, that wasn't their end all answer, they can go ahead and click on another part of my website and continue to engage with me. So I think that that's really important. So while I do think sites like ClickFunnels can serve their purpose, you have to really weigh out pros and cons as to is it really adding a benefit to you, or is it just giving you a shiny tool to look at? But what you're doing by using that shiny tool is really not ever learning your website and how it works, not learning how to do your marketing, email marketing system that's set up and learn how it works. I think sometimes it makes it seem easy, but you're not gaining the knowledge that you could on the back end about your own systems. So I hope that that answers your question, Ashley, that you posted to the group. There are pros and cons to sites like ClickFunnels. They do have a free 14-day trial. I just looked that up before I jumped on live. So I encourage you for sure, sign up for the 14-day free trial, poke around on their website and see if you like it. Exploring a tool never hurts anyone. Hey, Bill, so glad you're on today. I was just texting my mom about our conversation and was really excited that you messaged me the other day. So thank you for that. If any of you guys who are on right now have questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. And as I see them pop up, I will answer them as I go. One of the other comments that I got from Ashley's list of questions that I really loved. She was saying that I hoped I was going to talk more about the hug emails today. And unless a specific question comes in, I would say go back and watch that email nurture campaign video. But I loved that wording, hug emails. Oh, I just loved it because you really are kind of wrapping your arms around that person and saying, could we be friends? Can we be in business together? And I loved that terminology that she used with a hug email. So I'm checking comments here on my phone. Okay, very good question. She said, on MailChimp, do you feel like you get more conversions to sales from having the person get the email from MailChimp to confirm their subscription? So let's talk about that a little bit. In email marketing, there are lots of rules that you have to play by in order to do email marketing. A lot of them are federal laws that you have to follow. Systems like MailChimp put those laws in place for you so you don't have to be an expert at it. You don't have to worry as much about doing something wrong. What she's talking about is technically considered a double opt-in. It's where someone signs up on your website and they receive an email that says, are you sure you want to subscribe to this list? I truly feel that at some point in the future, that will be mandatory. But right now, I feel like that second step isn't necessary because what it does is it gives them another step to take. And honestly, any sort of barrier that we put between finding the potential customer finding us and them giving us money, right? It's as easy as saying, oh, we take payments online. Those are things that you're trying to do to make their life easier. Any barrier that we put in between point A and point B is not a good thing, in my opinion. So if you wanted to be super safe, you could turn on double opt-in in MailChimp, but I just truly don't think it's necessary. I do believe that it will be mandatory at some point. Stacey, if you have comments on that, I would love to hear that from your expertise too. But I just feel like at this point in time, it's not necessary and you may lose signups that way. If they give you their email address once, roll with it. It's like if someone says, hey, I want to book an appointment with you, you don't go back to them and say, but have you for sure read my website and understood what I did? No, you take the booking of the appointment because you want to get them to the next step instead of taking steps backwards. Okay, so Stacy asked, I feel like there are two schools of thought. One, landing page funnels that have no scroll, only one page, one call to action, one topic, headline, download versus two, the more method that you taught us that has more with the pastor method. Can you tell us why you like your method better, or if you have had bad experiences with the other older half page method? So I think that the method that I talked about for a landing page is excellent for a home page. If your sales funnel is really gaining more followers for your business in general, if you have a general goal for your sales funnel. Now, if you niche down further than that, you can continue to really analyze what goes on that page. I've designed landing pages for nonprofits and for clients of mine that we even changed the menu up top so that they could not get to the rest of the website. With a lot of modern kind of new age website builders, you can do that. You can customize menus, you can customize footers on that specific landing page. So I think it really depends on what the goal of your particular sales funnel is. I like an infinite scroll idea because if you think about method number two or method number one, where you're saying it's really simple and you're basically saying, here's what I'm selling you, click here, and that's it, or there's maybe a call to action or something simple, a download, but nothing much more than that. I think you will have some people that will immediately click there, but to me, in my mind, it goes back to that timeline in which people make decisions. If you think of Pinterest, so everyone's obsessed with Pinterest and you get lost in it for hours because you can just scroll and scroll and like there's no end. Have you ever reached an end page in Pinterest? Maybe a very specific search, but most of the time you just continue scrolling. Your Facebook feed never says end of feed. You're all caught up now. So it just keeps showing you things, right? And it's that idea of I'm going to continue to show you great information about this topic that we're talking about until you are ready to buy. Now, this is why I put call to action buttons all throughout my landing page because I may be the type that can look at just the header and click and know that I want to move forward. But someone else may be the type that they need to read a couple of those other sections. They need it really solidified in their mind what it is that you're selling to them before they're ready to click buy. So I always say start with more and then pare down as needed, depending on the goal of your sales funnel. But I don't think the more is a bad thing. I think that you can get messy with it in design. That's a whole nother conversation, but try to, even though you have more things there, try to keep them as simple as possible so that it's not heavy to look at. You still want that idea of a simple landing page, even if it has a lot of content on it. So I hope that that answers your question. If you have a follow-up question about that, please comment it so I can continue that conversation. Yeah, I do think maybe the infinite scroll idea is kind of a newer thing. It is a little bit generational. It's something that people want to get kind of lost in, and I think that it is a bit generational. It may depend on your buyer, but it doesn't hurt. You can always A/B split test it. If you're launching two different sales funnels, do one that has quite a bit of information on it, do another landing page that doesn't, and see how that performs. Or a lot of website builders actually will A/B split test for you. So you could actually design two different pages and it will at random show people page A versus page B, and you can actually gather data based on which one's performing the best. Actually, I think MailChimp may have some features like that too with A/B split testing. I know that they do with times that are being sent out for some of the paid plans, but I think they do with actual campaigns too, so you might check into that. I'm always for gathering data and then making a decision based on a fact instead of based on a feeling. Because your one thing, great thing to keep in mind for all of us is your buyers may buy differently than you do, right? They're not all entrepreneurs, so they're not all strapped for time. They don't all have, you know, the same annoyance with a million emails like you do. They may really want to see some of that content. So they may buy differently than what you're used to or what your preference is. Okay, so Yvonne asked, how often do you think you should share your lead magnet on social? I would encourage at least once a month, but I think more than that is great too. I like to look at it as home base. So you have your lead magnet here. How many ways can you come up with to attack that home base from different angles? So if your lead magnet is 10 tips for working from home, right now you could talk about it in relation to COVID, but next week you could talk about it in relation to having distractions at home, or it's so nice outside. How do you stick with your guns and work from home in a way that makes sense? Or you could talk about coming back after summer vacation and that getting back into the realm of things and lead them all back to that same lead magnet. So I would say no less than once a month, but if you can get it in more than that, I just wouldn't share it in the same way every time. I wouldn't say, hey, are you stressed working from home? Here's my lead magnet. I would try to come up with a new way to introduce it because most likely you're going to hit a different audience with that wording. While we try to say that our ideal audience is in this bubble right here, within that bubble, there's still diversity. So if you can hit the different ways that people are thinking that could still lead them to that lead magnet, that's golden. That's the way that you want to do it. So I hope that that's helpful. If you have a follow-up question, let me know. I'm going to pull back up my questions here while I wait on a few more to come in. Okay, Ashley is a newborn and boudoir photographer, and she wasn't able to join in on the live last night. And I know she's not here today, but she's going to be watching the replay. Somebody's graduating today, which is super exciting. But I did want to read what she was talking about with her lead generator. So she had a couple ideas for lead generators. One of them being behind the scenes, what to expect at your newborn or boudoir session, and would this be a good PDF? I kind of think that that would be a good intro email after they've booked a session with you because that's kind of specific to you and how you work. She did post a few other ideas though. Other ideas include how to survive your first week as a new parent. That's amazing. That would be an incredible lead generator, specifically for newborn, of course. But actually, it may kind of hit them afterwards. So you may be hitting some of the people who are planning ahead, but you may be hitting some of the people who are up at 3 a.m. Googling because they're trying to survive their first week as a new parent. So it's good to keep that in mind that you may hit some people after their babies are born, and you may want to just use that as an awareness campaign. So another one would be tips for breastfeeding. That's super helpful, especially because that's a big part of how you get the babies to sleep in their sessions, I think. I'm not a newborn photography expert, but so that would be an awesome one to share because if they have some of their tips in mind and maybe even tie it back to your session or any newborn session, like here's some tips for preparing to breastfeed before your newborn session with any photographer. So you're keeping it open, but by sharing that, you're telling them that you're the expert at this and that they should consider hiring you. 5 free recipes, freezer friendly for easy food for busy days to come. I think that's an awesome one. You could even do that as freezer friendly meals to take to someone with a new baby. That could be awesome for awareness. So you're building up an audience that may not all be your clientele, but they can spread the word to your clientele because they know someone who's going to be having a baby. So they're looking for that information. I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know the first place to start if I wanted to take someone food after they had a baby, right? Or preparing for that. So that would be awesome for me to click on. And I'm, not in the boat to hire you for a newborn session right now, but I will be down the road at some point. And I know people who are constantly looking for recommendations. So that's a great one to think about maybe pivoting so that you could spread it out and reach a lot of people with it instead of just your clientele. Tips for a flawless maternity session. That's great. No idea what to wear for your newborn session. Amazing outfits that'll make you feel and look great in your flawless postpartum body. I think that that is an awesome lead generator because so many people throughout different stages of their pregnancy will be worried about what to wear and this thing coming up and they don't feel great about themselves. That's fantastic. Um, the last one that she posted that I wanted to share was when dreams come true, guide to photographing those little private moments at home. Bonus, you get 10 free edits of phone pics to put in your baby book. So I would probably leave out the 10 free edits just because you really only want to give free things like that you're going to have to do individually for each person when you're for sure that you're really leading them to be a client. I think that that's a great one for awareness too. And I keep bringing up awareness because I know that you want to grow your social media following, Ashley specifically. I think that's a great one because everyone wants to photograph good moments at home. So this could speak to Auntie Crystal, who's babysitting, and I want to photograph those great moments. It could speak to the grandparents who want to photograph those great moments. And then there again, you're spreading your reach of your following so that when you come in with that thing that is speaking directly to mom, it's even stronger. I hope that that gives you some tips. For those of you who are on live with me, if you have any questions about any part of a sales funnel or, to be honest, anything that you want to ask me, go right ahead. Okay, while we wait on some questions to come in, I did just want to kind of talk in general about sales funnels. So I know that it's overwhelming. I know that it's a lot of information. I know that it's going to take time to get all of your ducks in a row. And I did want to talk about the difference between a sales funnel and social media growth. So social media growth is approached differently. Um, it's something that you do social media specific. A sales funnel isn't necessarily made to grow your social media. It's made to take someone that you have talked to or that you have available to talk to and lead them through the right channels so that they're given a great experience and then they continue to buy from you, right? There's this double-edged sword with social media growth. And I've been on both ends of it myself mentally with, oh yeah, I want to grow. I want to, have 10,000 people on my Instagram so I can have the swipe up or whatever it is. And it's such a hard thing because we all want the numbers, but you have to think if you don't have the systems in place to convert the people that even you have at your fingertips, what are you doing, right? You're just wasting time trying to grow social media and really not ever getting a sale out of it. So if you have 10,000 people on Instagram, but when you are trying to sell them on the thing that you sell and it's not successful, this is what a sales funnel does. So I hope that that kind of explains the difference between social media growth happens before, actually, I'm going to say after. I think that you should have an awesome sales funnel in place before you start to tackle social media growth because otherwise you're wasting time trying to gather more social media followers, but you have nowhere to take them afterwards. It's almost like if you were, talking to someone about going on a date and then you picked them up and you're like, where do you want to go? Are you hungry? Do you want something to eat? And then it's this awkward silence because you didn't plan anything, right? I hope any guys listening to that never do that. But I do think it's really important because this is a big part of the foundation of your customer experience, and that should be looked at wholly. It should really be looked at with great fresh eyes before you turn your sights to growing social media, in my opinion. That may be an unpopular opinion. Somebody may disagree with me, but that's where I feel I would put my focus first. Okay, Stacy said you mentioned growing your social media followers. Any particular tips so that more people see our lead generation generators that we post at least once a month? Honestly, groups lately have been the best thing ever for me. And I don't know if you guys have been following along, but I announced a freelancer boot camp where I'm helping creative freelancers with the business side of what they do, because I know it's a struggle for so many creative minds to think analytically. And honestly, I posted on my social. I was not getting a ton of engagement. I was not getting very many applications, a handful, to be honest. And then one day we posted that same um, um, landing page in several different groups, and I got, I think, 8 applications in one day, plus an influx of social media followers. So I think it is important that you engage. Like, so think of social media at its core, what it is. It was invented, right? Thank you, Zuckerberg. It was invented to take this idea of hanging out in person and meeting people at networking things online. So if you're just posting something and then waiting for feedback and never getting it, and then you're scrolling and watching what other people do, but you're never commenting, you're never engaging, you're never congratulating people on their wins, you're never really showing up and being social on social media, you're going to really struggle with traction. And I think that that's important even for the followers that you have. If you want the followers you have to see the posts that you post organically, it's important that you engage with them. Go comment on some of their things. Tag them in some of your posts and say, I think this would be a great resource for you, or want to make sure you saw this. Don't be spammy about it, but be in community with them. Really want for them to see some of these things because you know at your core that it's going to benefit them. So Yvonne said, what would you tell someone that is apprehensive about implementing this because they don't know that they have enough to talk about in a newsletter? So they keep putting off doing this. Okay, this is a common issue. And to be honest, I kind of thought this at first too. I was like, what do I have to say? I can't send out, 4 newsletters a month or whatever it is. But to be honest, the more I started brainstorming and watching other people's content that I admired, the more I was able to come up with my own unique ideas for my newsletter, even for my social media posts. So I think the 2 tips that I would have for that is, one, you started this business for a reason. You're doing it for a reason. If you can show up and talk to someone in a coffee shop for an hour, you can publish a newsletter once a week. You have that type of content. Look at what you're doing every day, because most likely you've done something that somebody wants that advice for. Even in your personal life, one of my blog posts was that I want to stand among the 2% of female entrepreneurs that make $1 million or more. That's huge. You know how far off I am from that? Like, but I'm calling my shot. That's where I'm saying I want to go. So I use a lot of things from either my personal life or the current things that I'm tackling right now. And I translate that into the offers that I have. And that's the way that I talk about them in my newsletters. And it's worked so far. And I think that that's a good tip. But number 2, watch what other people do. Because a lot of the times it's blank page syndrome, right? You sit down and you're like, oh, I have to write 4 emails. Ugh, that's really hard. But if you start to save content that you like from other people, and you're going, oh, I really liked how Jenna Kutcher talked about getting outside and photographing your family, or how she talked about setting a plan or getting consistent on social media, or whatever that thing is, you're like, I have some things I would like to say on that topic. So use that as inspiration for the thing that you can create. I hope that helps. Stacy said, if you've helped clients with ad spends on Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, etc., is there a minimum ad budget that you recommend that gets better results? I've heard some big agencies say 500 a month, which is why I never started. That amount feels discouraging as a first step. Agreed. Yeah, I will be really honest that I do help with ads, but most of the time my clients have a set budget. They're small enough that they're like, I really only have this money to spend on a social media ad, and so that's the budget that we set, or whatever their comfort level is with that amount of spend. Now, um, I'm a huge lover of organic growth over paid, even though I do know that most social media platforms are moving to pay to play models. So it's kind of a tricky question because as a small business owner, you're not competing with just the other small business owner that's in your industry on Facebook. You're competing with everyone for those ad spots. You're competing with Nike and Apple and everyone else for that audience's attention. And that's a really hard thing to do. So that's why a lot of agencies recommend a big ad spend, because they want to show you big results from it. And that's how you get it. Now, I do think that I truly believe, and this was one of the questions that Ashley asked you. This could be an unpopular opinion, but I truly believe that small business owners try to jump into paid social media before they're ready. And I'll explain a little bit what I mean by that. So if you are if you are advertising paid dollars for anything and you don't have your ducks in a row on the back end, when it comes to the information that's on your website, when it comes to your sales funnel, when it comes to your process, any of those things, I truly believe that you're throwing money down the drain, because if they see you pop up as a sponsored ad, they're expecting an awesome click-through experience from you. And if you don't have that yet to offer, I would not pay money to advertise. I just think it's a waste. Facebook is going to spend whatever budget you put on it, and whether it's going to actually work or not is a whole nother discussion. But I I don't have an exact number that starts for you. Yvonne's saying, I heard to base ad spend based on a percentage of your net revenue. So 5% or whatever is, and step up 1% once you know it works. I will agree with that. Start with something and then step it up once it's worked. A lot of people really don't understand with social media ads that you can't just throw out an ad for anything, right? A lot of people want to boost a post. Let's give that as an example, on the thing that they want to make traction for, but it actually doesn't work well that way. So if you are already getting traction on your page, you've done the organic work, you've done the engagement, you're starting to get great comments, you're starting to get new likes, all of those things, and then you run an ad, Facebook's like, I see you. I see you. I'm going to give you better placements. We're going to spin this in a better way, and you're going to get a lot better turnaround for it. But if you are starting from nothing and you throw an ad out as trying to see if it works or not, you're probably not going to get much traction from it doing it that way. So I like to look at ads that we spend in my business as capitalizing on what's already working. So if we're talking about something that's already getting good traction, then we run an ad on it. But until I've built an organic traction, I don't run an ad on it. So I know that that wasn't an exact answer, but I hope that it was helpful. Stacy said 6 easy newsletter content idea generators. Finish the sentence with your first thought on these 6 words: who, what, when, where, why, and how. I love that. That's so great. Yeah, anytime you're looking to kind of start content, that's an amazing way to look at it. So I like to make my content schedule based around my services. Now, I have a lot of services, so I'm able to do that and spread them out throughout the year. But say you had, 2 main services that you do, well, you send out something about each of those once a month. You could do it that way easily. So I start with a schedule, and if you'll scroll back, anyone who's watching this who hasn't watched me train on social media, I did a training on how to do social without pulling your hair out. And a lot of what I talked about is making a plan first and then putting the content in place, which is exactly what we're talking about with sales funnels. I gave you the plan to follow, and then you come in with the content. Then you come in with implementing it, right? So I think it's the same for any sort of content that you're working on: blogs, newsletters, social media content. Start with a plan and a topic list. And then you will feel so much better about sitting down and writing about that thing. Now, I've picked topics and put them on my topic list, written a whole article about it, and was like, nope, that sucked. I'm definitely not going to send that out. And I've scrapped it and changed course and completely started over. So there's no set methodology behind saying you have to stick with the topics that you pick. But I think there is something in your mind about having a plan to follow. A lot of us try to put all the steps into one session. So we're saying we're going to sit down for an hour and we're going to work on newsletters, but there's no plan to follow, and we don't even have a MailChimp account set up. So we're trying to do the plan, the content, and the implementation all in the same setting. And that's really hard because that's different parts of your brain that actually makes those different things happen. So start with a plan, and I think that'll make content creation go so much easier. I would love to hear if you guys have any more questions for me. I thought also I would scroll back to some of the videos that were posted and see if I could follow up about any of those questions. Bear with me while I scroll here. Okay, I'm curious if anyone got through this exercise and changed course. If you did, I would love for you to post in the group if you're watching this on the replay later. If anyone really started out in one direction and thought this is the goal of my sales funnel, and then after hearing all of the content, thought, no, I've really changed my mind and now I need to start here. That's something that happened to me at a business conference. I wrote down so many goals that I was ready to move on, and I didn't realize until later that I needed to take about 100 steps backwards and get my shit together in a really big way before I could ever meet any of those goals. So I'm curious if anyone made a specific goal for something and then thought, no, I really need a sales funnel for my entire business, something a little bit more general to start. So if that's you, give me a post in the group because I would love to hear about that. Okay. I know a lot of people talk about building their email list. Um, I also think a great way that I've done this is in Facebook groups. So, for example, like when I post the Share Saturday posts, um, we don't get a ton of engagement on those, but I keep posting them because I really believe that that's a huge way to find followers. Um, all the groups that I'm in have different days that you can post like that, and I think just the other day there was one of those like post your Instagram. Um, type post your Instagram link, and I gained probably 20 followers just off of that one post, and it was in a group of already like-minded people, so I'm not super worried about those followers being necessarily the wrong accounts for me, because I was already in a group with other creatives who, love to engage with creatives and collaborate with them. So I think that was a good move. And I mean, 20 followers off of posting a link one time is a pretty big return. So I would say it's kind of, I'm going to say all the rage right now, but post in those groups when you see those posts come up, and share a link to your things, share a link to your email list if you want, share a link to your lead generator if that's the thing that they're allowing, because it really does make a huge difference. People are in those groups because they want to support each other. They a lot of times just need to know how. So if you're sharing a link, that's a great way for them to jump right in and you're telling them, here's how you can support me. So, yeah, when we post those, be sure to do that because I would love to sign up for a lot of your email lists and see what you're putting out. But, spending the time to go to every single person's website and finding that is really hard too. So make it really easy for them. Put the link right there. I also know a lot of people that will post in those comment sections and just say the name of their company but not link it, and I've noticed they don't get a ton of followers off those. Make it really easy for people. Just click the link and go. Okay, perfect. Stacy said your group posts like that have helped me gain more Instagram followers. I'm ready for the next one to be Facebook business page. Yay! So we're gonna start a Follow Friday post, and we just worked that up yesterday, I think. And that way we can post our Facebook business pages and Instagram links and start following each other. So I'm glad that that was helpful to help you find some more followers. Yay! Okay, did anyone land on their perfect one liner? Does anybody that's watching now have their one liner down pat, the one that they're going to roll with? I would love to hear it if you do. I'm attempting to find that video to see if there are questions about one liners. I would love to know what yours are. I think a lot of people have, kind of jumped into, but how do I get people to even be interested in my sales funnel? I'll just say, make it. It's not quite the build it and they will come scenario. You're still going to have to do some marketing work to get people to it. But once it's like a fire starter. Once someone sees your lead generator and they think it's really great, they're going to share the link with somebody else, right? If you're putting out good content, it will find its way around. And then when it's not, then when you have all the pieces in place and it's not, then that's time to reanalyze how you're marketing it, how you're getting it out. So let me know if you guys have any more questions. For those of you who are on here, Yvonne and Stacy, I know you've been commenting quite a bit. I would love to know kind of what stage you're at in creating your sales funnel. Do you feel like you're, you know, barely started? Do you feel like you were able to achieve quite a bit in this past week? I would love to know kind of what that looks like for you individually. I will say if anyone wants to do more learning about sales funnels, I'm pretty obsessed with Donald Miller. I've talked about him in the past, but he has two different books out that dive a lot into how you talk about yourself. His last one actually has um, all the basis of a sales funnel broken down into different pieces. A lot of amazing examples, really great things. It's called Marketing Made Simple. So I would very much encourage everyone to grab that one if you're wanting to learn more. It's a good place to go. Okay, perfect. So Yvonne's kind of saying that you have kind of your direction for where you're going, maybe, but not all the pieces in place. Where do you think your next struggle is going to be? Is it going to be putting together the actual content? Or you're a pro at setup, so I think I already know the answer to that question. Even though I know websites may be a little bit newer, but are you more worried about the implementation or the content creation? Okay, putting together the lead generator. So it took me a while to be okay with that too. To get them down pat. I know you've watched a little bit of my process, but I did want to kind of share it here. Is I start always with a Word document. So many people, I've been in design, professional design for 12 years or more, and I watch so many people jump right into the pretty part, and they're worried about, oh, I think I'll put this picture on or this diagram or this it should have this color on the cover, or they're thinking so much about what it's going to look like that they are really kind of jumping the gun. So I would encourage anyone listening to this to just start with a Word document or a pen and paper if you want to go old school, but start with a document where you're just getting down all of your notes. I have a friend who he's in this group, so he'll comment if he ever watches this. But he actually does 3 full passes at any content he creates. So the first pass is really just getting some rough ideas down in a document. The second pass is organizing it and writing some of the content that goes with those pieces, really organizing it into the way that it's all going to be said. And then the third is polishing it up, correcting things, rewording the sentences that don't make sense. So, not quite a proof on the third pass, but it's really a pulling it together. So, one would be rough draft, get all your ideas out, kind of like the riff videos that we were talking about, but by writing on paper. A lot of times for me, this draft looks like a outline, like a bullet point list. Oh, I could talk about this, and we could dive into this, we could dive into this, and then I copy paste and reorder it all, and then I write my content. So I hope maybe that's a little bit helpful for you. Oh, I love that. Okay, so Stacy's basically saying that she has her one-liner for her overall business coaching and consulting, but is going to niche down further and create one for large clients versus small business clients, because your problems that you face at those different levels are different. So yeah, I'm really excited to read those and see how you've tackled like taking them from that generic one liner into something that's niche for them. I really do think always starting with a problem. I start almost all of my marketing with a problem because it works. If you look at anything that I post or any information that I send out that is problem focused versus not, it's a huge difference in the engagement that I get. When I send out emails that are very problem focused, I get replies back on them. And a lot of people will say, "Oh my gosh, you just get me." And that's the kind of virtual trust that you really want in your clientele. Okay, perfect. Well, any other questions? Tell me in the comments. Do you want me to stick around a little bit? Are we still brainstorming, or are you tired of watching me say Let me know. I was really worried about this on a Saturday, but I did want some way for people to ask questions after hearing all of that content. I know it is a lot to take in. I made a purple smoothie, finishing that one up for lunch. Okay, perfect. Yvonne feels pretty good about hers. I'm excited to see that all play out. So for those of you who are kind of watching this, and we're wrapping up a little bit here, I do want to let you know I have very affordable coaching for small businesses. If you really feel like you're almost there with your sales funnel, but you really just need to bounce a few ideas off somebody, I would love to book one of those calls with you and kind of help push over the finish line. If you got to the point in this that said, oh my gosh, I understand now why I need a sales funnel, but I don't necessarily think I'm the person to create it, I would love to help you with that. We are launching sales funnels as a service in Oaks Creative House next month, but for my group members, I actually have a special for you that is available for the next 2 weeks. So in your email, you would have gotten an email, and we're going to make a post about it, but it's a special for those of you who are like, I would love to have a sales funnel. That sounds incredible, but I'm just not the person to sit down and make that happen. I would love nothing more than to make that happen for you, because I believe that much in why you should have a sales funnel, especially right now. We're coming out of a weird time in the world, and a lot of people are, referring it to a recession. And this is a great way to recession proof your business, a way to really get your ducks in a row, make sure that you're putting your best foot forward all the time, that you're always leading your customers down the journey that you want to take them down. So I think that that's so important to keep in mind. And I just want to let you know that I loved giving all of this content to you, and I hope that so many of you are able just to run with it and make a sales funnel from what we've talked about. But if you're not, there is no shame in that. There's no shame in that at all. And it has taken me years to wrap my head around some of this stuff, and I would love to help you with it if you find yourself in that boat. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. But of course, I love hanging out in the group. It's my favorite place on the internet. So if you have any questions that pop up as you're continuing to work on your sales funnel, please post them to the group, because I would love to help. And I'm sure that there's someone who's a little bit further along in the process than you are who would love to give you feedback and help you as well. So that's why we're all here, right? We're in this group because we believe that community is bigger than competition. And I believe that in my core, and I love seeing the engagement that happens because of it. So I hope each and every one of you have a fantastic Saturday, or whatever day you listen to this video on. And for those of you who joined me live, thank you so much for doing that. I know it was so much easier for me to keep the conversation going with some questions. So I will see all of you in the group very soon. And for now, I'm off to Hobby Lobby.